guys, hope you're having an amazing day. It is Ping here. Today I am in the city of Singapore, and one of the most famous dishes here in Singapore is of course chicken rice. Now there are different forms of chicken rice in this city, but we're gonna go on a chicken rice tour of Singapore. I'm gonna show you some of my personal favorites. But we're just gonna have dinner tonight. We're gonna have chicken rice, then tomorrow we're gonna continue on with this chicken rice tour. I'm so excited. Let's go get our first chicken rice. Alright guys, our first stop today is at Red Hill Market. This is one of the bigger markets here in Singapore, but the first stop is at this stall called Rong Ji Hainanese Chicken Rice. Now, for me personally, this is one of my favorite chicken rice stalls. It's just so convenient, and there's always a long line, as you guys can probably see from the video. But what I love about this is the spread. For 4 Singaporean dollars, you get a whole plate of rice, a whole plate of chicken, a whole plate of vegetables, and a soup on the side, and as much unlimited chili as you want. Now, some tips before we start with the chicken rice. There are 2 types of chilies that you can start with. There's the red one, and then there's the green one. The green one is usually made of ginger and spring onions mixed together, while the red one is like a pure red chili sort of dip. The red chili one is definitely substantially spicier than the green one, depending on how much you can tolerate spice. But what I usually like to do at this stall's chicken rice is put the green chili with the chicken and the red chili with the vegetables. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's first start off with just the fluffy rice. As you can tell, we've drenched it in this black sauce. It's like this sweet soy sauce. It's supposed to help to increase the flavor rather than just having just plain white rice, but let's just try this out first. As usual, they always deliver that good fluffy rice. It's not extremely flavorful compared to the other chicken rices there are in Singapore, but it's just simple comfort food. You can add as much chili and that black, dark, sweet sauce that you can, as much as you want. Now we're gonna start off with the vegetables. These vegetables are put on a plate with some soy sauce, and of course top with some shallots. The best way I like to eat them is to put some of this red chili sauce right on top of the vegetables, put it together with some rice. Let's try it out. What I love about this stall is the way they do the vegetables, and they treat the vegetables respectfully. They have these vegetables fresh every single time. When you order it, they'll go and blanch the vegetables and they'll bring it up, put it in soy sauce, top it off with shallots. Absolutely delicious. You have that crunchiness from the vegetables, then you add with the softness of the rice, the fluffiness of the rice. Then on top of that, you got some small little shallot bits that are just a bit crispy, just to add to that texture. Once again, one of my favorite vegetable portions of chicken rice here in Singapore. Now, of course, it's not a chicken rice without rice and chicken. So now that we've touched on the rice and the vegetables, it's time for us to get to the chicken. As you can tell, the chicken is again on its own little plate. It's got soy sauce, and of course on the bottom it's got cucumbers, cilantro, and spring onions. Now you just have this beautiful glistening chicken. You can tell with the chicken and the chicken skin, some fat on top of it. But honestly, it looks so beautiful. The best way I like to eat the chicken is to put this green sauce and drench it over the chicken on top of the rice. Then, of course, with some green onions and cilantro, put it all in. What's great about this chicken is that it's so slippery, so smooth. It's almost like you're drinking chicken rather than eating chicken. You do not need to chew. That just slides down your throat, and that's what I love about this chicken here. They do it so well. It's so smooth when it goes down. One of my favorite chicken rices here in Singapore. Finally, chicken rice isn't complete without the soup. Now the soup here, they have it like a peanut and vegetable base, but what I love to do with the soup is just to put a bit of that chili sauce in, mix it up a little bit, because the soup is not exactly very flavorful, so when you add a bit of chili, it changes the taste profile a little bit. Let's try that out just with the soup. Oh, yes. The soup, you can tell, has just been cooking for a very long time. Chili adds a bit of a kick, a bit of a punch. I figured since I was at Red Hill, I'm gonna deviate away from chicken rice and try one of my favorite dishes. This is a carrot cake, and it's at this stall that has like a Mickey Mouse logo on the front. What I love about this carrot cake is that, okay, To begin with, carrot cake isn't actually made of carrots. It's a misconception. Carrot cake is actually made of radish. But it's actually a savory dish, not a sweet dish, and there's two ways you can get it. You can get it black or white. White means that they don't really add that much sauce. Black means they add some sweet soy sauce onto it. But it's cooked with eggs and just charred until it's super crispy. This one I love because what they do is that the egg is really thin layer and we have it all charred really, really crispy. And you can just get that wok flavor, that really crispy, that fiery flavor on it. You can add chilies or you can choose not to add chilies. It's completely up to you. But let's try the carrot cake out. Once again, this is what I love about Red Hill. This chicken rice and this beautiful, beautiful carrot cake. It's so crispy, it's so oily, it's definitely unhealthy. So eat this after you've had a workout, but it's definitely worth all the calories. Now you can get it in different portions, $3, $4, or $5. This right here is the smallest portion possible, but you can definitely, if you enjoy it, go for a $4 or a $5 option. This right here is easily one of my favorite chicken rice stalls in Singapore, and obviously just the beginning of our entire chicken rice journey here in Singapore. I'm gonna see you guys at our next stop. Good morning, guys. It is the next day here in Singapore. Let's continue our chicken rice food tour. Let's go. Guys, the first stop we've come to this morning is at People's Park, which is in Chinatown. So we're going to be around this area because there's a ton of really good chicken rice stalls here. But the first one we've come to is the People's Park Hainanese Chicken Rice. It's literally named after the food center. But this is apparently a Michelin-ranked chicken rice, and it's supposed to be really, really, really famous. As you can probably see, the chicken is really, really juicy. It's just covered in that oil and soy sauce. The rice looks quite fragrant, but we're gonna first try out the rice because that's obviously one of the main components of chicken rice. I have to say, the rice isn't extremely fluffy, but the flavor is really, really strong. You can really get that ginger, lemongrass, spring onion sort of taste behind it. Really, really good rice. I'll give that, like, you know, a 6 or 7 out of 10. The rice is really, really solid. Of course, another key component of chicken rice is the chili. So we're gonna put some chili on top of the rice and try out whether the chili really adds flavor or is it just not helping. What I found really unique about this chili is that the kick comes in a few seconds later and there's a very strong sour element. I think they put like lemon or lime to help that chili sauce. But definitely the spice kicks in after a while and the sour element is really, really, really surprising. But it does go well with the chicken rice. I think it's really good. Now, of course, for the main event, we've got to go for the chicken. Let's try it out. It's a pretty good piece of chicken. I'm not gonna say it's terrible. But when it comes to like the slippery smoothness of it, which is what I like to find in my chicken rice, I don't think it really hits that mark. It's not as slippery as the one we had at the first stop. It's a bit drier. It's still a good chicken rice. I think that if you're a foreigner coming here, you would find this really, really appetizing. But as for the chicken itself, I mean, it's not as slippery smooth as I like it to be. But we're obviously gonna go see other places and see how their chicken rice stacks up. But I'll give this a solid 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. Not a bad plate of chicken rice. The chicken could definitely be slippier, but I'll see you guys at the next food stop. stop of the day is another Michelin ranked store. This is called Hawker Chan. It was the first hawker stall to receive a Michelin star here in Singapore. But this is not your traditional Hainanese chicken rice. This is a soy sauce chicken rice. So as you can tell, the chicken itself is a brown color and the rice is covered in this brown sauce. But of course, we're gonna start off with just the rice, some of it with that brown sauce, as you can probably see. Let's try it. I've come to this stall many times and I don't think I've ever had the sauce this good. I think it's maybe because of COVID, there's so few people, but the sauce has this amazing herbal spice texture to it. And the flavor component is just so unique. There's just so many herbs, it's very aromatic. And I don't think you can find that sort of flavor anywhere else in the world. But of course, with the chicken rice, they have like a bit of a darker red chili sauce. So we're just gonna put that over the rice and see how that matches up, see if it works with the entire dish. Okay, that's a really interesting chili sauce because it does have that sour element, but it's also kind of sweet. It's like a sweet and sour chili sauce. I've never tried any chili sauce like this outside of this stall, so definitely very unique chili component. Let's try the chicken, which as you can see has that brown skin, different from the other Hainanese chicken stalls we've been to. Ready? Okay, I think the chicken is alright. It's not really very strong in flavor. It hasn't really infused into the flesh of the chicken, and it's not a really juicy chicken. So for this chicken rice, I'll say rice, the sauce, that brown sauce, amazing, definitely good. Chili is amazing. Chicken's gonna be a bit of a letdown. But before we finish it off, we gotta just try the egg. Alright, the egg definitely has flavor. You can tell that the egg has been infused in that soy sauce raw for such a long time. Chicken is just a bit of a disappointment. It's just a bit of a miss. It's not as juicy as I hoped it could be, and the flavor just doesn't penetrate through the flesh. I mean, it is a very big, thick piece of chicken, I'll give you that, but they should be able to braise it longer to get it that stronger flavor. Overall, pretty decent. It is another Michelin hawker stall, but I'll see you guys when we go to our next chicken rice stall. We've come to our last hawker center for today, and this is probably one of the most famous hawker centers here in Singapore. This is Maxwell Food Center. And now no chicken rice food tour in Singapore can ever be complete without the one most famous stall here in Singapore. This is Tian Tian Chicken Rice. Now, Anthony Bourdain has come here, Gordon Ramsay competed against them. Many people will swear by this store and say that it is the best chicken rice here in Singapore. I've had it multiple times in the past, but we are going to see whether this chicken rice can really stack up the competition against other chicken rices in Singapore. Now, what I've heard is that the rice here is extremely flavorful. It's supposed to be some of the best chicken rice, the rice alone here in Singapore. Anthony Bourdain apparently claims that you can just eat the rice by itself. So we've got to just go in for the rice first. I think I've got to give it to them. There is really, I think, out of all the chicken rices I've tried today, no rice that can compete with Tian Tian. The rice, it's not necessarily fluffy, but the flavor, it's truly exceptional. I mean, compared to any of the chicken rices we've had today, I have to be completely honest, this rice really does live up to the expectations. When Anthony Bourdain said you can eat this rice all by itself, he really wasn't lying. Well, we've of course got to try the chicken. Now what's unique about this chicken is that it literally just falls apart. I mean, just look at it right here. It is falling apart right on the spoon itself. But let's give this a try. It looks really, really slippery, really juicy. Let's go. I have to say, when it comes to the juiciness of the chicken, I think the only stall that can compete with it is the one we saw at Red Hill, where that chicken was literally soaking in its own fat and juices. This comes pretty close, but I'll say it's definitely juicier than the Hawker Chan we went to earlier. Definitely a really good juicy chicken. Not as juicy as one we had at Red Hill, but with the combination of the rice, it's really worth it. This plate I have here is only the small plate, so it's only $3.50. So it's definitely worth it at the price point. I would say the chicken could, if possible, be soaked longer in that sauce. The rice is amazing, the rice is perfect. But of course, no chicken rice is complete without the chili. So we're gonna put some chili on top of the rice and then try this out. Okay, unlike any of the chili sauces I've had today, this one doesn't have a sour element. It's a very strong, enters your mouth and punches you. Whereas the one we had at People's Park was a little bit more complicated. The spice came in afterwards. This is a really strong, bold, punch you in the face when it enters your mouth sort of chili sauce. Works well with this chicken rice, but I'll say you can honestly eat it without the chili sauce. The rice is just so fragrant, so amazing. This is of course only our first chicken rice stall here at Maxwell Center. Let's go get our second plate. Alright, we've got our next chicken rice and our last chicken rice for this tour, but before we begin, got some orange juice. It is a very hot but beautiful day, but just gotta get some orange juice first. Fresh orange juice, nothing gets better than that. The final stall for today, this is Atai chicken rice. Now what's special about this stall's chicken rice is that the owner of Atai used to work at Tian Tian, which is the one we ate just now. The really famous one that Anthony Bourdain went to, that Gordon Ramsay went to. But what happened was that one of the workers there who was making the chicken rice got fired. And after he left, he opened his own stall just 2 stalls down from Tian Tian chicken rice. Some people in Singapore swear by this chicken rice that it is the best chicken rice and that it's even better than the one at Tian Tian. So we've got to try this out. First things first, just like any other chicken rice that we've judged today, we're first gonna try out the rice. The rice, as you can see, has some like threads of ginger. You can tell that it's been cooking in that lemongrass, that ginger, that galangal, and that spring onion combination. And even just like the rice at Tian Tian, you can tell that the color is a little bit browner. It's not as white as the other chicken rices we've had. Let's go ahead and try this rice out. This rice is better than the rice at Tian Tian. Let me explain. The rice here is extremely fluffy. It's fluffier than the one at Tian Tian, and I like that the flavor in this rice is stronger than the flavor at Tian Tian. Surprisingly, I thought the flavor at Tian Tian was already exceptional. This brings it to a whole new level. So on a rice scale, I think out of all the chicken rices I've had, this has had the best rice. I'm gonna give it, you know, a 7.5, 8, even 9 out of 10. This is really solid rice. We've got to try the chicken. As you can tell, the chicken, just like the chicken at all the other places, you can literally see that layer of fat just dripping off of it. It looks like a really tender piece of chicken as well, but will it be as tender or more tender than that of Tian Tian? Let's try it out. I think the chicken at Atai is more tender than the one at Tian Tian. What's special about Tian Tian is that they cover it in the sauce, so it gives that appearance of, you know, fatness, luxury, and like a very juicy chicken. But here, literally when you bite inside it, the juices literally explode as you bite. And that I did not experience at Tian Tian. Finally, the last stop of the chicken rice tour has to be the chili at Atai. Let's try it out with the rice. What I like about this chili sauce is that it has that sourness that Tian Tian was missing out on. And that fits so well. I really like this chili sauce. I think it fits really well with the very flavorful chicken rice. That sourness, that bit of acidity helps to cut down on the fat, that luxury of the chicken. Overall, I think this is an excellent chicken rice for $3.50, and you get a soup on the side, a really, really clear, simple soup. But definitely when it comes to rice and chicken, and even the chili sauce, I think it beats out Tian Tian. We're gonna finish this up and then we're gonna head to one of my favorite dessert stores here in Chinatown, where we're gonna debrief and talk about which ones are my favorite chicken rices here in Singapore. Alright, for dessert we've come to this old-time sort of dessert stall. It's called Mei Yuan Hong, and it's really popular. Not right now because of the whole coronavirus thing, but we just got one of my favorites, which is their almond soup paste. It's this really thick almond soup. Let's give this a try. Delicious as always. A little bit of sweetness, that almond flavor plus milk flavor is perfect. Let's quickly talk about the chicken rice that we've had through this tour. My favorite by far has to be the last stop when we went to Atai. Atai just had some of the best rice and chicken combination together. The chili sauce also got that sourness, that punch. It took a lot of the best things of Tian Tian and then combined it with a lot of the good things from the other stalls. For me, personally, that's my favorite. Coming in a close second has to be Tian Tian. I mean, the rice is just amazing. Not as great as Atai, but also just really, really up there. One of my favorites as well. Number 3 has to go to the Rongji Hainanese chicken rice at Red Hill. I love how slippery smooth their chicken is, and it's the only stall out of all the stalls we've been to that has the green chili, the ginger plus spring onion combination. I love that sauce. Coming in 4th, I'm gonna have to give it to the one at People's Park. I love that sour element to the chili. Chicken was quite smooth, but the chili was really, really what was unique. That punch like 5 seconds later, that sort of spiciness that kicks in, really unique. I never had that anywhere else. All the other chili sauces weren't as sour or as punchy as that. Coming in at the very bottom has to be Hawker Chan. Now that's not saying that Hawker Chan is bad, but just keep in mind it's a different type of chicken rice. So it's not really fair to compare. It's like comparing apples to oranges. But what was disappointing about the chicken there was that the chicken wasn't really juicy. I mean, even by looking at it, you can see how thick that chicken is, and the sauce clearly hadn't penetrated through the different layers of chicken. For me, that was a shame, but if you go there, that rice and the sauce, that dark, herbally spiced soy sauce, one of the best sauces I had today. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're coming to Singapore, definitely use this as a guide for chicken rice stalls here in this country. Chicken rice is one of my favorite dishes here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.